My God, I hate drugs.
In other news, former President Noynoy Aquino delivers a barrage of criticisms against the Duterte government. This as he led the opposition senatorial slate Ocho Diretso in last night's campaign rally at the People Power Monument. Rex Remito has that story.
Siyempre, nandito tayo ngayon para sa Ocho Diretso.
For the first time since he bowed out of office, former President Noynoy Aquino is becoming more outspoken in his criticisms against the Duterte administration. He urges the public disappointed with the rule of President Rodrigo Duterte to vote for the opposition senatorial slate Ocho Diretso. He made the call at a campaign rally ahead of the celebration of the 33rd anniversary of the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution on Monday.
Paano ba tayo susunod sa pinuno na hindi natin malaman sa tutuho? Yon ang iba sa Ocho Diretso. Maliwanag, klaro, diretso ang pupuntahan natin.
He says if administration-backed candidates win the midterm elections, it would send the signal the government is doing well. But he expressed concern that the horrors of the martial rule under strongman Ferdinand Marcos are having their comeback now.
Gagawin na naman tayong maharlika. Parang last time ko narinig yan, parang si Apo Perde pa yata nakaupo eh. Grabe naman yun. Hindi na po left turn, U-turn na ho yata ito.
The former chief executive also took time defending his past policies like the procurement of school-based dengue vaccine Dengvaxia. This became controversial after drug maker Sanofi Pasteur said that Dengvaxia was more risky for those without prior dengue infection.
Madaling isang tao na wala na kredibilidad ang ating mga health practitioner. Ano po resulta? Kayo, di lang naman ako nagbabasa na dyan, nanonood ng TV. Meron na po tayong epidemic ngayon ng tigdas.
At the same time, he also went on the offensive by criticizing the government about high rice prices and the unabated extrajudicial killings.
Inagaw o sinubukan agawin yung baril. Subukan niyo ilagay yung kamay niyo sa likod. Tapos subukan niyo agawin yung nakasukbit niyo sa katabi niyo. Okay?
Some Ocho Diretso candidates are saying the past Liberal Party chair can still bring them their much-needed votes. This even if the former ruling party led by Aquino heavily lost during the 2016 national elections. Based on recent surveys, only 2 of the 8 opposition candidates have the statistical chance of making it to the Magic 12.
I think so. Palagay ko naman marami pa ring tao na natulungan, na-appreciate yung mga nagawa rin ng time niya.
Yes, palagay ko malaki pa rin ang tiwala ng taong bayan kay Pangulo.
As the opposition faces an uphill battle against a still generally popular government, Aquino vows to campaign for them even more. Rex Remito, CNN, Philippines.
President Duterte says he has fulfilled most of his campaign promises to the people, except easing EDSA's traffic congestion. Mr. Duterte spoke at a campaign rally for senatorial candidates under the ruling party PDP Laban held in Binyan, Laguna last night. In his speech, the president blamed Congress for not granting him the emergency powers needed to solve traffic along major roads. Here's the president in his own words.
Ako sabi ko, EDSA, yan lang ang hindi ko pangako na palpak. Bakit? Noong pagka-presidente ko sinabi kailangan ko pera. Hindi ko mandala itong EDSA ng pala. Naknang. Kaya sabi ko, I have to have the authority. Kagaya yung binigay kay Cory nung sa Ramos, yung electricity. So they were given extraordinary powers. Wala nang bidding-bidding. Ako naman sabi ko, hindi ko sinabing walang bidding. I said I would need money to repair or rehabilitate or do away with the present situation.
President Duterte believes the party's candidates can help strengthen the administration in fulfilling its advocacies and projects, especially in the remaining 3 years of his term. The PDP Laban takes their campaign sortie today to Cebu City. President Duterte is expected to lead the rally. Cebu-based journalist Dale Israel joins us on the phone for more. Dale, what are we expecting tonight?
My President Rodrigo Duterte will be here in Cebu today as he leads the campaign for his 11th dep for the Senate in the May 2019 elections. The first PDP Laban political rally in the Visayas kicks off this afternoon at the Plaza Independencia in Cebu City. Local allies of President Duterte said they expected at least 50,000 supporters to attend the gathering. These local allies are the opposition bloc here in Cebu City. Incumbent officials in Cebu City and Cebu Province, including Mayor Tomas Osmeña, are affiliated with the previous administration. With a population of about 6 million, Cebu is a vote-rich province. It has over 3 million registered voters. We saw Senator Coco Pimentel he was the first speaker among the candidates at the political rally this afternoon. Also seeing here were former MMDA Chairman Francis Tolentino and Senator Manny Pacquiao, the campaign manager of PDP Laban. Before the rally, though, the president will be at the Cebu Technological University main campus, also here in Cebu City, to lead the distribution of unconditional cash transfers for some 1,500 qualified beneficiaries. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you. Dale Israel reporting from Cebu. This is the newsroom on CNN Philippines. We ask a sociologist if millennials today still value the meaning and significance of the EDSA People Power Revolution. Authorities recover another batch of suspected cocaine, this time in Surigao del Sur. Police say 2 fishermen found 34 bricks of the illegal drug along the waters of Barangay Bungtod in Tandag City this morning. Police add the cocaine's estimated value is at over 200 million pesos. The Drug Enforcement Agency has yet to confirm if the substance is cocaine, but an official of the Tandag City Police tells CNN Philippines they're convinced the drug was part of the cocaine packages earlier found in Surigao del Norte. The police adds residents are cooperating with them in recovering more contraband.
Nang nakita nila, ma'am, parang nagduda na sila na baka ito cocaine yun, ma'am. So pagdating nila ng ma'am, ng Tandag City, around 6 o'clock in the morning kanina. So nag-report na din sila sa amin, automatic nag-report sila sa kapulisan ng Tandag City. Saka tinawagan na din po namin yung regional director namin regarding dito sa suspected cocaine. So, nang binuksan namin po, ma'am, nakapunta na din yung taga-PDEA. So, parang it was found out na pare-pareho yung nakikita doon sa may bandang Surigao Norte. Binuksan yung isa, yung may nakita kaming parang dollar sign.
The 2 fishermen received sacks of rice and cash as a reward. Since February 10, blocks of cocaine were found floating at sea or washed ashore in several areas. On Thursday, about 1 kilo of cocaine was recovered from the coastal area of Quezon Province. In Zamboanga City, around 8 million pesos worth of suspected shabu was recovered this morning. Police say the drugs were seized from a 23-year-old woman arrested in a buy-bust operation in Barangay Tumaga. The suspect's companion still at large. Last Friday, the Zamboanga police arrested 3 people, also in a drug bust. All suspects are facing drug charges. Transportation authorities encourage commuters to remain vigilant. This after police arrested a man last night for carrying a live hand grenade at the MRT Cubao station. An X-ray machine detected the suspicious object wrapped in packaging tape. The suspect faces charges of illegal possession of ammunition and explosives. MRT3 officials assure the public they will further strengthen security in all stations. A group calling on transport regulators to give the green light on a fare hike petition as another hefty oil price hike is seen this week. This will be the 6th since January. Makoy Popioco reports.
Taxi driver Lino Amorato has to earn at least 1,700 pesos in a 12-hour shift so he can go home with 600 pesos for his family. However, with the worsening traffic congestion in Metro Manila and the rising prices of oil products, Lino takes home 100 peso less since February started.
Kayanin talaga, kailangan ipit na sa sinturon. Higpit ng sinturon uli. Yun lang. Basta makakain lang kahit papano.
The prices of oil products have gone up 5 times since the year started. There was a big price hike of at least 1 peso and 40 centavos on January 15th. prices went down in the first week of this month. However, oil companies are expected to announce another hefty increase anytime this week. Energy Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella says the hike is primarily due to the changes in oil supply in the international market. While the agency could not ascertain if oil product prices would drop anytime soon, it advises motorists to go to gas stations with cheaper prices.
We have to be vigilant in the sense that we have to know that the retail prices for gasoline stations are different. You may even see a 2 peso differential among the same product.
Jeepney driver Teddy Flores says his family has made so many adjustments in their monthly budget. Like Lino, Teddy's daily take-home from 600 is down to 500 pesos. With a big-time price increase coming this week, he thinks his family will have to cut their spending further.
Ang nangyayari, magbabawas kami sa mga alimbawa, yung sa mga ibang gastusin namin, sa pamasahin ng mga anak namin. Mababawasan yung baon nila. Ganun na lang. Kasi hindi naman namin bawasin yun sa ibang bagay. Katulad sa tubig, kuryente, nakapix na po yun.
A jeepney group calls on transport regulators to approve their petition for a jeepney fare hike.
Ang tunay na reaksyon namin dito ay kinakailangan na talagang bigyan ng aksyon ni Chairman Delgra ng LTFRB na muling ibalik yung piso namin na maging 10 piso ang pamasahe. Kasi kung hindi talaga nalulugi ang mga tsuper, hindi naman po kami hihiling.
The Philippine Amalgamated Supermarket Association said their suppliers are now thinking of raising prices of their products. The group's members might also push for their own price hike if that happens. Makoy Popioko, CNN Philippines.
Several groups gathered at the EDSA shrine yesterday and warned against what they described as a looming Duterte dictatorship in the country. Makoy Popioko has more.
The power of democracy resides in the people. That's what these protesters are celebrating on the 33rd anniversary of EDSA People Power Revolution. The 1986 peaceful revolt that toppled the regime of then strongman Ferdinand Marcos is a beacon of democracy for many.
Ang totoong kapangyarihan ay nasa kamay ng mamamayang lumalaban.
Protesters say people power is relevant now more than ever. They say President Duterte is governing by a strongman's playbook. According to them, the martial rule in Mindanao and the attacks against human rights workers and the press are all telltale signs of a looming dictatorship. Hundreds of protesters gathered at the EDSA shrine before noontime Saturday. After a program, protesters marched to Camp Aguinaldo.
This stretch of EDSA from the shrine until the People Power Monument is like the hallowed ground for the People Power Revolution. It's midday, the heat of the sun is scorching, but for these protesters, marching this stretch of EDSA is the best way to commemorate this day.
Activist Inday Bagasbas was a victim of human rights abuses during the Marcos era. She says she was arrested and hurt while in detention. More than 3 decades after, she's back on the streets fighting for the rights of the rural poor like her.
Buong mga mamamayan ng sa kalansuran ay lumuwas na dahil wala na po silang kabuhayan sa probinsya dahil kahit sila nakakaranas ng pagpatay, pandarahan.
Hundreds of workers, including some OFWs, joined the march. They wonder why local jobs are being given to Chinese nationals while the country continues to send out workers abroad.
Nagpapatuloy yung pagbebenta sa ating mga kababayan sa ibayong dagat na parang mga kagamitan ng mga commodity. At tumataas yung bilang ng mga pinagsasamantalahan at inaabuso. Kaya po nakikita po namin dapat talaga ipagpatuloy dahil hindi pa tapos yung laban na nasimulan ng EDSA uprising.
Some current and former government officials also joined the event. During the program, ousted Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno made a subtle swipe at President Duterte.
Walang kapag-apag-asa kung ang ating paniniwala ay sa iisang tao na nagkahari-harian at sinasabing siya lamang ang ating huling baraha. Nagsasabing ang Diyos ay estupido.
These activist groups can only hope that Filipinos have learned their lesson. They continue to appeal to their countrymen to oppose the Marcoses' political comeback and remain vigilant so that this government will not abuse its power. Makoy Popioko, CNN Philippines.
Hindi EDSA People Power Revolution, hindi pa rin tayo malaya hanggang ngayon.
Ito po yung walang nasaktan na tao or whatsoever. Tapos napatalsik po yung regiment po dati without like brutal force or what. Gamit lang yung pure na ng mga tao.
Dati kasi, syempre, magulo. So, para sa ibang tao, yung EDSA Revolution, yun yung naging magandang opinion para sa kanila. So, yung pagsa-celebrate natin ng EDSA Revolution is important. Kasi part siya ng history ng Pilipinas.
Kasi naging part siya ng history ng Pilipinas. Tsaka malaki yung impact nito sa mga tao hanggang ngayon.
It has been 33 years since a revolution of millions ousted a powerful dictator. But is the youth aware that the freedom they are enjoying today is because of the 1986 People Power Revolution? Joining us via Skype, a sociologist, Ash Presto. Good evening, Ash.
Good evening.
So Ash, sa tingin mo ba marami sa ating kabataan ang hindi alam ang tunay na kahalagahan ng EDSA?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think so. If you go along the streets and you ask random millennials or random youth why tomorrow is a holiday or Monday is a holiday, maraming magsasabi na hindi nila alam.
So bakit kaya, sa tingin mo?
Well, a lot of factors can cause that, pero malala yung culture of misinformation, for example, here in the Philippines. So a lot of youth now believe what they see on social media, believe what they see on Facebook without actually countering or fact-checking what they see online. And of course, a lot of people have different opinions on the significance of the People Power Revolution. We have different politicians saying different things. We have different social media personals saying different things. So, minsan hindi nila alam kung kanino maniniwala.
So, Ash, sa tingin mo ba, saan sa tingin mo may pagkukulang kung bakit hindi nabibigyang kahalagahan ng mga kabataan ang EDSA Revolution? May pagkukulang ba ang gobyerno, ang ating mga educators? What do you think?
Well, ang nakita ko kasi ay kulang yung tangible commemoration natin when it comes to the People Power Revolution. So, for example, we don't have museums yet. As in government-sponsored, government-funded museums for the victims of the Marcos regime. And a lot of the people joined the People Power Revolution because they were family members of itong mga biktima ng diktadurang Marcos before. And of course, yung culture of misinformation. And there is a news that President Duterte have expressed yung hindi niya pag-attend ng People Power Revolution. And this says a lot kasi parang pinapakita dito na hindi masyadong importante yung People Power commemoration kasi even our president is not attending the ceremonies.
So Ash, you were talking to me earlier about the millennials, napakalaki yung demographic nila, and there are different kinds of millennials, but what could society do to preserve the significance of the EDSA revolution to the millennials of today?
We are all actually responsible for preserving yung significance or for commemorating even yung People Power Monument. The government, for example, can have a stronger approach when it comes to the commemoration, requiring government officials to attend the commemoration, being strong on the fight against misinformation, and of course us as quote-unquote normal people can still commemorate the People Power Revolution by actually talking to our peers, talking to even to our family members, and of course by reading legitimate sources of information, not just social media, not just kung ano yung sinabi ni ganitong politician, without actually fact-checking.
Ash, thank you for your time. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
You're watching Newsroom Weekend on CNN Philippines. Today's top stories: authorities recover 34 bricks of suspected cocaine off the waters of Surigao del Sur. Authorities estimate its value at 231 million pesos. A transport group is urging the LTFRB to bring back the 10 peso minimum fare for jeepneys. This as we anticipate a big-time oil price hike this week. The forecast, diesel prices will go up by as much as 1 peso and 50 centavos. And tomorrow, the nation commemorates the 33rd anniversary of the People Power Revolution. A sociologist says millennials are misinformed about the significance of EDSA. Tributes pour in for the late BSP Governor Nestor Espinilla Jr. and national artist Bobby Manyosa. And who are the strongest contenders for this year's Academy Awards? Messages of condolences are pouring in with the passing of Bangko Sentral Governor Nestor Espinilla Jr. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo says the government expresses its gratitude for Espinilla's complete devotion to his work and great service to the nation. The House Committee on Banks also honored the late BSP governor for his achievements. Chairman Henry Ong says Espinilla was a spirited champion of financial inclusion. On Twitter, NEDA Secretary Ernesto Perña says Espinilla was an example of a dedicated public servant with high competence and integrity, a big loss to the BSP and the country. He will be missed. Also, in a tweet, the Philippine Red Cross said Espinilla was a partner in saving lives and a champion of humanity. He supported the BSP and PRC's partnership to alleviate the suffering of Filipinos through the Blood Samaritan program. Espinilla died yesterday. He had been battling tongue cancer for over a year. He began his career at the BSP as a debt analyst in 1981. He took over from former BSP Governor Amando Tetanco Jr. in 2017. Espinilla pushed for an electronic fund transfer system called InstaPay to cater to Filipinos who transact mostly using non-bank channels. Espinilla was 60 years old. National artist for architecture Francisco Bobby Manyosa laid to rest. He was given full state honors at the Libingan ng mga Bayani today. Family, friends, and fellow artists attended the necrological service held at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Manyosa is known for his works that include iconic Filipino structures, the EDSA Shrine, and the Coconut Palace. Manyosa was 88. The Moro National Liberation Front will not recognize the 80-member Bangsamoro Transition Authority, the new Muslim Autonomous Region's transition government. That's according to the spokesperson of MNLF founder Nur Misuwari, attorney Emmanuel Fontanilla. He tells CNN Philippines in a text message, since the MNLF is not part of the BTA, it does not recognize it. Under the ratified Bangsamoro Organic Law, the BTA will be composed of 80 presidential appointees, 41 members from the rebel group MILF, and another 39 from the government side that will govern the region until 2022. The government has yet to announce the members of the BTA. Misuwari was the embattled former governor of the transitioning ARMM. President Duterte earlier said he wanted to meet with Misuwari for peace negotiations in Mindanao. In other news, opposition senatorial slate, Ocho Derecho is holding a campaign rally at the People Power Monument. They say this is to remind us of the power of the 1986 EDSA revolution. Former President Noynoy Aquino is expected to attend the rally. Our correspondent Rex Ramitio is there joining us live. Hi Rex, what's happening there so far?
Well, so far, the opposition candidates are calling on people to vote for them to end what they call the dictatorship of President Rodrigo Duterte. They're saying this before their supporters on their campaign rally and commemoration of the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution. They say what happened during the martial law era under then President Ferdinand Marcos should never happen again. All of the Ocho Derecho candidates are here to share their thoughts and platforms on various areas like poverty, workers' rights, women and children, senior citizens, economy, justice, security, and education. Former President Noynoy Aquino is also here to support the candidates and tell the voters what's at stake in the coming midterm elections. Actually, former President Aquino is now on stage. He defended his policy on Dengvaxia, and he also made some comments about the government and its handling of the recent measles outbreak. Aquino is the son of late President Cory Aquino, who led the 1986 EDSA revolution against Marcos. He is also former chair of Liberal Party. Opposition Senator Antonio Trillanes is also here. Vice President Leni Robredo, meanwhile, will also give her video message. There are also performances, monologues, and signature campaign to free detained Senator Laila de Lima, among others. There will also be a candle lighting event to be led by a singing performance of Noel Cabangon. So far, the event area is only limited on the southbound lane of White Plains Avenue. Vehicles can still pass by on both lanes of the northbound lane. All lanes of the northbound lane of EDSA, meanwhile, are still passable to vehicles. May.
Rex, up to what time daw yung campaign rally dyan sa People Power Monument?
Well, according to the organizers, magtatapos daw ito bago mag-alas 7 at tatapusin nga nila ito ng, sa pamamagitan ng isang candle lighting program. And ang sinasabi rin nila, ang mahalaga raw ay kahit nagdaos sila ng gantong campaign rally, ay hindi naman daw sila nagdulot ng matinding trapiko sa EDSA at sa White Plains Avenue. May.
All right, Rex Remito reporting from the People Power Monument in EDSA. President Duterte defends Communications Secretary Martin Andanar's presence at a PDP Laban campaign sortie in San Juan City. The president earlier ordered his cabinet not to join campaign rallies. Andanar, however, was at Thursday's event, supposedly filling in for senatorial candidate Bongo. The president says Andanar is an exception to his policy because of his ties to the party.
But Andanar is an ideologue. His guidance is very important to all of the PDP members. He is the son of one of the founding fathers of PDP Laban.
So even
and there are only few of them left. Original. Pimentel is quite old. I mean the father. The son is very busy. He's tied up with the senator. And so I had to look for somebody there to fill the gap. Wala akong ibang maisip ko hindi si Andanar.
Several groups gather at the historic EDSA Shrine in Quezon City to commemorate the anniversary of the first People Power Revolution. Here's Makoy Popioco with more.
The power of democracy resides in the people. That's what these protesters are celebrating on this day of the 33rd anniversary of EDSA People Power Revolution. The 1986 peaceful revolt that toppled the regime of then strongman Ferdinand Marcos is a beacon of democracy for many.
Ang totoong kapangyarihan ay nasa kamay ng mamamayang lumalaban.
Protesters say people power is relevant now more than ever. They say President Duterte is governing by a strongman's playbook. According to them, the martial rule in Mindanao and the attacks against human rights workers and the press are all telltale signs of a looming dictatorship. Hundreds of protesters gathered at the EDSA Shrine before noontime Saturday. After a program, protesters marched to Camp Aguinaldo.
This stretch of EDSA from the shrine until the People Power Monument is like the hallowed ground for the People Power Revolution. It's midday. The heat of the sun is scorching, but for these protesters, marching this stretch of EDSA is the best way to commemorate this day.
Activist Inday Bagasbas was a victim of human rights abuses during the Marcos era. She says she was arrested and hurt while in detention. More than 3 decades after, she's back on the streets fighting for the rights of the rural poor like her.
Buong mga mamamayan ng sa kalansuran ay lumuwas na dahil wala na po silang kabuhayan sa probinsya dahil kahit sila nakakaranas ng pagpatay, pandarahan.
Hundreds of workers, including some OFWs, joined the march. They wonder why local jobs are being given to Chinese nationals while the country continues to send out workers abroad.
Nagpapatuloy yung pagbebenta sa ating mga kababayan sa ibayong dagat na parang mga kagamitan o mga commodity. At tumataas yung bilang ng mga pinagsasamantalahan at inaabuso. Kaya po nakikita po namin dapat talaga ipagpatuloy dahil hindi pa tapos yung laban na nasimulan ng EDSA uprising.
Some current and former government officials also joined the event. During the program, ousted Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno made a subtle swipe at President Duterte.
Walang kapag-apag-asa kung ang ating paniniwala ay sa iisang tao na nagkahari-harian at sinasabing siya lamang ang ating huling baraha. Nagsasabing ang Diyos ay estupido.
These activist groups can only hope that Filipinos have learned their lesson. They continue to appeal to their countrymen to oppose the Marcoses' political comeback and remain vigilant so that this government will not abuse its power. Makoy Popioko, CNN, Philippines.
Going back to our top story, a huge oil price hike is expected next week. Union Oil says diesel prices are estimated to go up by 1 peso and 40 centavos to 1 peso and 50 centavos per liter, while gasoline prices are expected to increase by up to 1 peso and 40 centavos per liter. We now speak with Energy Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella. Good evening, Yusek.
Hi, good evening. Good evening to the viewers of CNN.
Yusek, medyo malaki po ang adjustments this coming week. It could go as high as 150 per liter. Ito na ba yung dulot ng second tranche of the train law?
No. That's not part of the... Hindi po kasama yung tranche 2 sa kwentong yan. Ang kasama pa lang po dyan ay yung world market prices. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, what that means is that the supply, as far as the oil producer countries are concerned, they are limiting their production because of the supply glut or the oversupply that happened in the last 3 months of 2018. So if we notice last October, November, and December, there was a price rollback because of the so-called supply glut or oversupply. Aside from that, aside from the figures that OPEC and non-OPEC countries that had decided that they will limit they will cut the supply by 1.2 million barrels a day starting January 2019. Saudi Arabia made its own pronouncement that in the coming months, it will have more cuts. It is also aggravated by the situation of Venezuela and the United States, wherein by January 2019, there was a 500,000 barrels per day cut due to the U.S. sanctions. However, this price increase was already capped because there was an increase of the production by the United States. So, yung America, they also produce their own petroleum products.
Yes.
So they had they increased their production. But aside from that, there is still uncertainty as far as what will happen on Iran, because coming the end of April 2019, there may be the absence of extensions on the waiver as far as Iran sanctions from the U.S. is concerned. So that's what we mean by oil world market price movement. However, for the local consumers, for the ordinary consumers, we have to be vigilant in the sense that we have to know that the retail prices for gasoline stations are different. You may even see a 2 peso differential among the same products because these retail outlets are also competing. They are competing for their right share in the market. That is why we have been encouraging the use of not only the manual comparison, but the use of applications through your internet services like Waze, because it has a function that you can see all the gasoline stations with the prices there. So if you just choose on the icon on the pump price, you will be able to see that there are different prices for gasoline stations along your route.
Yes, Yusek, I remember nga yan yung advice nyo. Dati piliin na lang kung ano yung mga gas stations na mas mura.
Opo, hindi lang po yan kasi tinitingnan din po natin yung mga freebies or partnerships, the marketing strategies of these oil retail outlets, no? Meron silang
Yung mga
partnerships. May discount, may grocery partnership, may department store partnership. Tapos merong mga libre, may mga freebies, may bigas, merong laruan, merong mga iba't ibang bagay na pang-inganyo. So, kung yung consumers natin mitikuloso, kahit pataas or pababa ang world market prices na hindi natin kontrolado, nagkakaroon ng competition, nagkakaroon ng epekto, immediate impact dito mismo sa atin as consumers.
I guess, Yusek, we want to know, since you mentioned all these factors that will eventually cause the increase in oil prices next week. But you mentioned nga, limited supply in the world market. Yung OPEC has agreed to cut production or output. So, do you foresee many more price hikes? Sunod-sunod ba to, yung pag-increase ng oil prices?
Marami kasing factors. There are a lot of factors that affect it. Sometimes when somebody, an economist or an analyst would project, most of the time, nagkakaroon siya ng misprojection or miscalculation because yung mga nangyayari araw-araw, hindi niya kontrolado. So, ang malala pa dyan, kasi kung magaling siya mag-analyze ng nangyayari sa Amerika, sa Venezuela, sa petroleum producing countries, petroleum products producing countries, ito namang Pilipinas, hindi naman tayo nagpo-produce masyado. No? So, ang liit-liit ng production natin. At kung makikiagaw tayo or makikibili tayo ng petroleum products sa buong mundo, sa world market, ang imagining na lang natin na yung mga petroleum products, yung mga bariles, ay parang stick ng sigarilyo. Sa dalawang rim, dalawang pack, hindi po pack, rim, yung malaking karton ng sigarilyo, ang binibili po ng Pilipinas or yung market share natin ay iisang stick lamang or 0.5%. So, ibig sabihin, hindi tayo masyadong nakaka-apekto sa world market prices. So, the analyst will say na probably, ano ba nangyayari, no? Tataas ba siya or bababa? Yun yung first 3 days ng trading last week, matindi yung supply cuts, pero ito naman yung Amerika. In the last 2 days, nag-increase naman ng kanyang production. So, hindi naman nakikita ng analyst kung ano yung mga reaction ng ibang players. So, yun yung ibig nating sabihin na it's difficult to make projections whether it will go up or down. Because if the analyst can really make a concrete or an accurate forecast of the prices, ang yaman niya na po kasi may forwards market.
Okay, Yusek, very quickly, no, kailan po dapat namin makita yung impact ng second tranche ng train law sa oil prices?
Okay, ano siya, nararamdaman na natin siya kasi yung mga new stocks natin lumabas ng January 1 at saka yung old stocks naman na before December 31 and before that na lumabas na uubos na. So, naramdaman na yan natin in the first week yung iba ngayon, marami din ngayon and marami din in the coming week. So, the point is, where does the train taxes go? It goes to our roads, it goes to our redistribution of wealth strategies for the government so that we can have more opportunities for the Filipinos, especially yung mga naghihirap.
Okay, Yusek Wimpy Fuentebella, thank you po for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much.
No important documents were lost in the fire that hit a Customs Bureau building in Manila.